All right, peeps, I get two main questions these days, and that is for baseball, who do I spend my money on and what competitions do I prioritize? And we're going to go over that. I think it is really variable depending on how much money you're spending, how many in-season cards you're willing to buy. You don't really need to buy in-season cards with the energy aspect that they've added this year, which is really interesting. You can actually buy classic versions of star players and energize them and use them in cash competitions. I think there's going to be enough energy going around where this isn't going to be a real issue, especially since we're going to be good at this. So let's dive into it, and I will go over some of the competitions and where you can earn energy with your classic cards and where you can use those energized classic cards to win money alongside your in-season cards that you're buying right now. So we're going to go over the competition structure, and I'll talk about how you can use the galleries that you've built, either through in-season purchases this first couple of days here since the market's opened, or your classic gallery that you built over the last year or two. So if we go to play here, we have our daily games. I'm kind of going to skip over those. The pricing for the daily games isn't great. You can win limited essence with good finishes, and so you'll want to throw those extra cards in as you can. So you'll be able to use your classic gallery in these, try to win some common essence each day. Of course, you can craft with that when you get to the 1,000 level, and now they've changed the rules with the crafting so that there aren't different tiers when you craft. It's just supposed to be the same chance of getting a really good player as getting a scrub. I kind of like that. One level, everybody was doing the first level anyway, so they just decided, scrap it. We'll make it harder to get to, but we'll give you some better players. So supposed to be the same for everybody. I'm a skeptic like the rest of you are that all this stuff is as random as they make it out to be, but you'll be able to make your lineup here each day, and we'll have projections for you on the main sheet and in your organizers as soon as those are done, and you'll be able to pull out whoever you aren't using in your game week and put them in your dailies. Let's move to the bi-weeklies, though. I think this is where people have the most questions. There is common minors, so this is obviously we're waiting for the Ryan Weathers situation to be resolved, the common essence market to be reset so that we know how much common essence we're working with when we fill out our lineups. Hopefully they do that before Thursday so we can get our optimal in. Prize pool on minors. You can win cards out of here, but you have to finish really high. So like a podium wins you a star. These are going to be the bigger competitions, obviously, that everybody plays. I did come up with a third place finish in one of these last year, one of Francisco Lindor, so it is possible. We'll have optimals for those. Once the season starts, you can follow along with us in the Discord. Challenger. So Challenger is interesting. Challenger is where you're going to win your energy. So you start with some energy. They gave us all 250 limited and like different amounts for each threshold. And each card you energize costs 25 energy. Looking at the prize pool for Challenger, everybody who enters wins at least 25 energy. That's really important. So for every lineup you put into Challenger, you are guaranteed at least one energized card that following week. If you finish high at all, you can get, top 15%. That's 100 energy. That's 4 cards you can energize for the coming week. If you do really well, you can win cards in here and market credits and other things. So these are interesting competitions. I really like the way they structured this. I think this will probably be a primary competition for somebody like me who doesn't have a lot of in-season stars. If you do have in-season stars, you're more likely to be able to just go right into Champ. And this is, of course, where the money is. When you set your lineup in Champ, you see the prize pool here. You can win cash. You can win rare essence in the limited competitions. I know everybody loves that. You can win cards up to 125th place and nothing lower than a T2. There'll be less disappointment with the card rewards, but they'll be harder to win. You'll have to kind of earn them, buy them, craft them with essence. Top 50% gets something here. XP bonus and a small amount of limited essence for a lower finish. This is really where you earn your bread. Yeah, obviously if you have a lot of in-season cards that you've bought already, that you can just fill in here without having to use much energy, that's great. If not, though, I think you just go for it. Use the energy. We'll get more. Like you can see, I have 380. I haven't bought much. I bought some low-level in-season cards just as like kind of gap fillers, and I'm planning to use my classic gallery around them. But Champ is the only competition where you can actually win money, but it is multi-entry. You can do up to 3 Champ lineups. You can do up to 3 of the All-Star lineups. We'll cover that next. and you can do 2 of the Challenger lineups. So multi-entry on all of these except Common Minors, which is just a single entry tournament. For All-Star, this is interesting. So you can use some common cards in All-Star along with your limiteds. They have to be in-season limiteds. That's the kicker here. So you can win cards up to 125th place, just like in Champion. You win cards and Common Essence here, and then for lower finishes, you can win allocatable XP bonuses that you get to choose which players you want to put them on. Another good change. The limited cards get you a little 5% boost in these competitions, and the common cards do not. This is a kind of interesting one. I probably, for somebody like me, I'll get lineups in just for the sake of getting lineups in, but I don't think I'm going to be real competitive here, at least not out of the gate. If you have a huge gallery, obviously you're going to play as many of these as you can. This would be like my lowest priority, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, you can win some cards and some essence, but the other prizes and the other competitions seem a little better to me. Just from a strategy perspective, I think if you're playing a daily game, you're going to want to really try to get those starting pitchers with relief pitcher eligibility in your lineups. The reason I say that is because those guys are guaranteed to get you something. Whereas a regular relief pitcher, they'll pitch a little less than half the time. So you're taking a pretty big dice roll starting a regular relief pitcher in a daily game. Now, there aren't a whole lot of guys floating around that are eligible in that spot. I did find one yesterday and bought him for pretty cheap. He is Cleveland's number 3 starter, Luis L. Ortiz, and he's not a great pitcher, but he's somebody who can fill that role. Anybody with this relief pitcher eligibility that's going to be a starter, good guys to look at just to fill up your rosters. And of course, an in-season card of his for $3 is worth it for me just to help me fill my lineups. Well, let's move on to who should I buy? Well, you can see my last purchase was Matt Olson. So Matt Olson plays for the Braves. The Braves like to play their starters every day. There are a lot of teams that'll rest players here and there, just give them a random day off. The Braves aren't that team. They will play their starters pretty much every day. I believe Olson played maybe 160 out of the 162 games last year, or maybe 161 even. He was in there all the time. So a great guy to have because you don't have to worry about him randomly sitting. As a first baseman who hits a lot of home runs, plays in a good lineup, I thought $10 for the classic card was a really good deal. Obviously, you can use energy on him. Get him in those champ lineups if you like. Pitching is normally pretty cheap. Grab your pitchers in season. I would grab some role players who can get hot in season. Try to get a deal on somebody when you can. Throw them in your lineups when they get hot. Running through some more strategy. Starting pitchers. I mean, I'm looking for strikeouts. I'm looking for upside, and I'm looking for cheap. So that's why I like Shane Baz. I think he's got great stuff. He could be a good starter here. He had a rough spring, but everything's in line for him. Plays for a really good organization that develops pitching. I think he's going to have a shot to be in the rotation to start the season. We'll see what he can do. Jack Leiter, great pedigree. Dad played in the big leagues. $3. He's going to be in the Rangers rotation with all their injuries. Robbie Ray, I really like. I have 2 of his. So the pitching's pretty cheap. Hitters are more expensive. I'm looking for guys that I think have a chance to have big seasons. But since I played last year, I have quite a few guys I like. They'll be able to fill gaps and fill lineups and keep earning me energy as the season rolls on. I'm really excited. I love the changes. I didn't initially, but I'm really coming around to it. I think they've got something here. If we take a look at the market, I'll just give you a couple of hints here as to who I like. So if you're looking at classics, hitters, energize once the season starts. I'm just going to look at limiteds here. We're going to do it by highest average score. Some of the better players in here. You're getting a discount on Freeman because he's been hurt, missed those 2 games in Japan. Julio at 27. I mean, all these guys are fairly affordable. I mean, a lot of the new cards are going for $70, $80, $90. More than that, you can snag some of these. Ketel Marte, 11.5. I mean, he was really good when he was healthy. I love Ramirez at 26. So a lot of guys in the 20s. I like to look at the difference between the classic version and the in-season version, see what the price difference is. How about Ramirez? Okay, so 27 for his classic card. If you want his in-season, it's 71 on the instant buy, 19 on auction, but they usually sell for, 55, 65, somewhere in that 60 to 70 range. So pretty big gap in between that classic and the in-season for Jose Ramirez. All right, let's go over a couple more that I think are worth spending energy on. And we're just talking hitters here. I think pitchers you'll be able to supplement with in-season pitchers for pretty cheap. So I'd say Freeman, you're getting a discount on for sure. Julio's a really good player. Could be in for a big season as a bounce back. Love Ramirez, very consistent. He also plays every day. 27, gives you some speed and some power. Ketel Marte, really talented hitter, 1150. I mean, those are kind of the guys that I think are probably worth. Obviously, Ohtani, about 150. That's still a lot. I know a lot of you have one, so you'd be supercharging those. I'd rather do that than spend $500 on an in-season, but because the prices will come down on the in-seasons as the season rolls on. There's Olsen, 1065. All right, let's look at some middles. You might be getting a small discount on Betts. I just read this morning that he's lost about 15 pounds. He's been really sick. So this affects things, like he's not going to be ready for the start of the regular season if he's weak from being really ill. He said he got sick before the Japan trip and he's just now getting over it, which is kind of crazy, and lost a lot of weight. 34 though, for this good a player. You're looking at 2 eligibilities here. Got outfield and he's got middle infield. Francisco Lindor, obviously one of the better players in the league. Probably would have won MVP last year if it wasn't for Ohtani. $17 for his classic. Nice one to supercharge. Here's Marte again. So he had a DH card that qualified at corner, and he also has a second base card that qualifies as middle. $11.50. And there are other guys I like here. I just don't know if I'd supercharge them. I'd probably buy their in-season card for the extra $10 or whatever. Like CJ Abrams, I really like. $6.50 for his classic. But if you look at his, but only $19.41 for the in-season, and you might be able to get him even cheaper at auction. Let's see what his auctions have been going at. Yeah, last couple auctions somewhere in the mid-teens. So probably don't want to waste energy on him. You can just pop the extra $10 and buy his in-season card. So you really have to look at the difference, I think, between the classics and the in-seasons and see if it's worth buying the classic knowing you're going to have to use the energy, or just spend a little extra money and get the in-season. But I certainly wouldn't supercharge every card. I'd really only supercharge the good players. So the players that you maybe couldn't afford to buy their in-season card, or their in-season cards are significantly more expensive. Like here's Kyle Tucker. His anime versions were like in the $150 range. I think this one probably goes for quite a bit less than that. 25 minutes left in the auction. He's at $50. He doesn't have an instant buy. And the manager sales, $28 for him. But you can certainly get a Julio, a Betts, a Tatis, a Soto for under $50 if you don't want to spend $100 plus on his in-season card. Judge here is $54. I believe his in-seasons are going for somewhere in that $100 to $125 range. Need somebody for week 1? You can grab yourself a Cedric Mullins. Should get all 4 starts in Toronto. Hits well against right-handed pitching and can steal you some bags. I don't know if I'd supercharge him. Let's see what the difference between his... So he's got $1.88, $8.56 for a manager sale of an in-season. Instant buy for Mullins, $7.33. Yeah, so even better. And you might even be able to get him even cheaper at auction, although he doesn't have any auctioning right now. So yeah, that's not bad. Only want to spend $1, get the classic. But again, then you have to use your energy. I think energy is going to be easy enough to get, but it's still, you still have a finite amount of it. So generally these lower priced guys, I would just recommend buying the in-season card, saving that energy for your best classic players. All right, cool. Hope that helps. Thanks for watching again, and we will talk again soon. I'll have more coming this week. We're working on those optimizers. PSR put in a full day yesterday, got a lot of it up and running, had to rewrite a lot of the code. So it's a work in progress. I know on my end, the main sheet is functional, but I'm having some issues with Google problems. So we're going to iron these things out in the next couple days, get everything up and running, and we'll be ready once Thursday afternoon rolls around. Ooh.
Want to dominate? Unleash the power of So Rare Edge. Optimize, strategize, win, win, win. Patreon link in the description.